Welcome to Large Man Abroad. Let's have a talk. There's palpable anxiety in the country right now as the economy starts to swing in a downward direction. And at the same time, there's absolutely no consideration or care given by this administration when it comes to the normal working man, especially with regards to small business. Check it out.
Small businesses say they are being hurt by the Chinese tariffs, and some could be forced to shut down.
And many businesses are being helped.
Are you considering tariff relief for small businesses?
Why do you always mention that, you pick up a couple of little businesses? What about the car business? They're going to make a fortune because of the tariffs. Do you know that the union, the head of the union, who was no fan of mine, Sean Fain, I guess his name is, right? He didn't endorse me. The Teamsters did. A lot of people did. A lot of unions did. But he didn't. He couldn't stand me. Now he's saying, wow, what's Trump's done for the automobile? I can't believe it. I assume he's going to probably now say the next thing he can say is, I endorse this guy. He's the greatest I've ever seen. He can't believe it's happened. He said, we've been waiting 40 years for somebody to do what Trump is doing. So why don't you mention the big car industry instead of mentioning somebody that's doing strollers?
Well, I'm just asking you about small businesses. Are there any discussions about giving any relief to small businesses?
They're not going to need it.
Okay.
They're going to make so much money.
Are these tariffs?
If you build your product here. Remember, there are no tariffs if you build your product here. It's very easy. It's very simple.
It's honestly hard to put into words the kind of disdain I feel towards another human being when watching this clip. This man does not care about normal American people. And it should be quite evident at that point. What we're seeing here is the mask slip. The entire campaign this man ran said that he was working for the little guy, that he was working to make sure that people could move up and come up. And it's just an utter lie and deception. And people still hold on to it. They still fall for it and are reassured just by the whisper of support. But at the same time, every decision this man makes seems to work against working class people. The way that Trump in this clip flippantly just dismisses small business as if it's not important, while at the same time devoting all of his support and effort and focus on large business, corporations in the car industry who are set up to automate and use AI to get rid of most of the jobs he says he's bringing in. I mean, this is well known. It doesn't matter what he says. He's still going to have his support. And even when they lose their jobs, they're still supporting him. After what we just saw in Virginia happen with an entire town of people losing their jobs, and now with a complete dismissal of any concerns of small business owners who are genuinely and generally working class people. The only way for most people to actually come up and move through socioeconomic classes is through entrepreneurship, is through ownership. This is how you move from class to class. This is how you move from poverty to middle class to upper middle class, and eventually they say to upper class. Though that ladder has been pulled away, it has been raised up behind these people. They do not care if your business goes down. They say to make all your products in America, while at the same time, it's impossible for the American business owner, 95% of them, to actually purchase all the parts that they need to actually make their products here in America, because it's just too expensive. To purchase all your parts in America for most small businesses means that their finances would be outside the margins of actually being able to be operable. That's one of the problems with our country now, is that we are so heavily reliant on foreign goods. Our small businesses have to use foreign goods. We have to use parts and products from China just so we can actually keep our heads above water. Because the cost of living has gone up, the cost of manufacturing has gone up, the cost of products in general has gone up, the cost of transport has gone up, the cost of everything has gone up. But what can you expect? What can you expect from someone who's never actually been in the working class? What can you expect from someone who's never actually built something from the ground up? They were given millions of dollars to start with. That's not a person who knows you. That's not a person who understands your struggle. They look at you like a strange animal at the zoo. There's a curiosity. And when they look in your eyes, you may see some kind of familiar reflection. But at the same time, they are two different species. It's not that Trump doesn't care, though he doesn't. He just simply doesn't realize the cost and difficulty of being a small business owner. It is not an easy thing to do, and that's why most people just stay with a wage job. because there's a comfortable stability to working a wage. There should be some kind of stability. But as we're seeing with massive layoffs all over the country, that stability has gone away. There's no safe spot in this country where we can just work and exist anymore. You just can't. People have to live in a state of constant fear at this point for the vast majority of situations, because we don't know what the economy has in store for us. We don't know what impacts and effects these decisions are going to have on our futures, on our employment, in our ability to house ourselves, in our ability to feed our children. We just don't know. There's an amount of uncertainty that leaves the rest of the country incredibly anxious. And the fact that this man still has the amount of support that he has makes you have to question the intelligence of his supporters at this point. Because with all the evidence stacked against this man's decisions at the same time, him getting the support, it is truly only comparable to this point to people who worship a cult leader. That is what it is. There's no Trump derangement syndrome in this case. There's just people trying to exist in the landscape, the poisoned landscape that this man has set us in. America is falling apart. We are leaderless while at the same time we are being driven off of a cliff. My entire life, I've heard lying politicians tell us how small business is the backbone of this country, but their support always seems to fall short when it is needed most. And this case is different. Usually the effects of their ignorance and the effects of their kind of general antipathy towards normal working class people is benign in its effects. Yeah, we've always dealt with inflation to a degree, but it's going off the charts now. You know, the spending bills are just getting higher and higher, and the value of the dollar is getting lower and lower, while the cost of products are getting higher and higher, and forcing American small business owners to make all their products in America under threat of financial penalty is coercion. This is the best way to put it. This is financial coercion on a massive national scale, and we're allowing it to happen because we have no choice at this point, because no one is supporting us. And even the Democratic Party are barely speaking out, barely doing anything. They're all in it together. There is a uniparty. There is not two parties, and we are seeing that now. We're the guardians of our republic. We're the great voices of democracy who are actually out there putting themselves on the line. We're not seeing it. We're not seeing any great noble actions from our wealthy elite who apparently we've put all of our trust in. We're only seeing steady decline. This is all we have. And how are we supposed to feel about this? How can we feel confident and comfortable that America is a country that has a future while at the same time you rob the working class of their ability to move up? Because everyone knows that there's no way to stay in a wage job, which is what you're saying at this point is all that you're offering, while eliminating people's ability to actually move into entrepreneurship. You can't make an actual living on a wage anymore. It's just, there's a reason why so many people are working multiple jobs or have one job, but they're working 60, 70, 80 hours a week. It's happening everywhere. And the air of anxiety and paranoia that's filled this country for so long is quickly turning into anger and resentment. At some point, America is learning how to hate again. And we creep closer and closer to an inevitable conflict because things cannot go on like this. They just can't. And this is the footsteps towards collapse. There's no other way to put it. And this administration is very busy dismantling the very foundation of our great republic. I mean, look, they've already suspended certain constitutional rights. The Constitution is a very important thing when you're running your campaign, when it actually comes time to stand by those rights and ensure that decisions that you make aren't impacting the rights of the people that are guaranteed those rights, then you have failed this nation, you failed this country. And if you support anti-constitutional action, then you are an enemy of the state. That is what you are. But so many of his supporters don't see it that way. They say, we are the guardians of the republic, although they are quickly destroying this republic. And there's not much left of it at this point. Small business is the dream of millions of Americans. The idea of owning your own business is core to the American dream. In that dream, primacy usually goes to home ownership, but quickly behind that is always entrepreneurship, because that's true personal freedom to own your own home, to own your own business. This is what the American dream is, but you've denied that. And you've laughed it away and said that it's not important because it's the corporations that you value most. It's your rich oligarch friends that you value the most. It's the people that you go golfing with, the people that you have dinner parties with, but not us. And it's never been us. A snake oil salesman can be a great salesman, but he's still selling snake oil. And that's what this country has gotten. We've gotten a big dose of snake oil and we're sick now. And it looks like we might be dying. And that is a shame, because I think that the American people deserve much more and much better than the America that we have. Or maybe we don't. Our actions and our votes have sent us and this world into a direction that is destroying itself. And now the world leaves America behind, and maybe rightly so. Maybe it's just what America deserves at this point. Perhaps it's time for America to truly be left behind to kind of stew to its own devices. Because America may be a free country in many aspects, but it is filled with enemies from within. And any true desire for conciliation goes unrequited. The fact is, the American people hate each other now, because the American people have learned to do nothing but hate. Whether it comes from entitlement or the longing of a false dream that they've been spoon-fed. Is it even a country worth saving anymore? And this is a very hard thing for me to think about, and I think that this is a very hard thing for us to discuss, because we have a lot of our own biases. But out of almost 400 million people, do we condemn them all? Because condemnation on that scale is very dark work and is very heavy. Just to say, burn it all. I've said burn it all before, but I mean the system, not the people. Unfortunately, at some point, a resolution is going to happen in this country, and one side would have to come out victorious. And I do worry, because if conflict were ever to rise in America, then it wouldn't be solely on its own. World powers would have to step in and eventually would, I imagine, vie for control over the vast resources that America has that are so plentiful. But that's for another video. The American people have to break away from their pride and understand that you may have voted for somebody, but that doesn't mean that you have to stand by them as they burn your house down. You don't even have to say that you're wrong. You just have to stop supporting. You have to stop making excuses when people lose their jobs. Stop making excuses as the prices go higher and higher. Stop making excuses as childhood food insecurity skyrockets and people can no longer feed their children. You have to stop excusing this behavior that plunges the world into a darker place than we've ever seen. Entrepreneurship and small business is one of the last few roads out of poverty for many people in this country. And you laugh it off and you strike it down and you price people out. This is an attack on the working class, and we need to recognize it as such. But anyway, that's all we got for today. Thank you for stopping by. If you're watching to the end, like and subscribe. Appreciate small business and do what you can to support small business at this point. If they're still out there, if you know people who are starting businesses, or you see flyers, call them, use them. Stop using the corporations. You already have a car, don't buy a new car. Because the thing is, we may have all these manufacturers in this country, but at the same time, right? Who's going to be able to buy the cars if no one's working? This is what we need to think about. You focus on large business, but these large businesses eventually are only going to be creating luxuries, and luxuries are getting beyond the point of purchase for the vast majority of people. Support your own people, because that's what it's about. Don't support business, support your own people. And we, the American people, see you. Have a good one.